Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Drone Wars. I believe this is episode 41 now. So here in front of us we can see the board and the remaining factions, which there are only 3 factions left here. The Pirate Empire is definitely winning. They have a presence in every single quadrant across the map. Delta Shipyards seems to be struggling. They might be the next faction to get wiped out, but the Federation is looking like it's making a comeback. And it might actually expand towards the bottom right. I'm not quite sure if they'll successfully pull that off, but we'll see what happens. If anything, maybe the Pirate Empire might have some counter, but we're going to find out in this episode what happens. Alright, so the Federation, they've decided they're going to move one of their fleets over here to take over the gas giant rings. They've turned that into a colony establishment there. You know, they're getting more of some control over this area here. Unfortunately, Delta Shipyards is suffering, but yeah, that's that. And the second action the Federation is taking is to go ahead and expand down here. And I guess they're going to try to cut the Pirate Empire in half here by taking over this fortress world here, the Moon Craters. So we're going to jump into the battle and see if these 3 ships are enough to take out that fortress. Alright, here we are. We're on the moon, and down there we can see there's a fortress off in the distance, and here are the 3 ships that are going to try taking on that fortress. This fleet here isn't particularly powerful compared to the other fleets that are on the server, but they might be able to pull off some attacks here. The ships are slowly starting to get into range, and there's definitely some shots going in. I think there was a direct hit on the frigate there. It has taken some pretty heavy hits. All these other ships are trying to get a bit closer to do more damage. You can see the Corvette here is now gone within range to use most of its weapons. The cruiser is moving in a little bit closer so it can start using its own weapons. But it seems like this hillside here is actually blocking some of its view, so it's going to need to figure out how to go up above that. And of course there should be the frigate also trying to move in a little bit as well, if it hasn't taken too much damage. Definitely a lot of damage going back and forth here. It seems like this cruiser is still trying to target the enemy even though it's behind a hill. This Corvette here has gone a little bit closer, so it is now starting to use its burst fire cannon at close range. This frigate here is actually getting closer, and it is firing its missiles. The Corvette here seems to be trying to stay above here, and that cruiser is a bit low over here. That mountain is blocking its view. It should move back into position later, or these other ships might be able to take out the remaining defenses from here. It's mainly a battle between the remaining turrets and the Corvette there. You can see the remaining ships are still trying to do their own damage as well. And this Corvette is taking quite a few hits here. It's only about 4 turrets left. The frigate and cruiser are basically stuck behind this hill and are unable to detect the enemy, so they're kind of just stuck. The Corvette here is firing with whatever it's got left. If it could turn to the side a little bit, that burst fire cannon might be able to do some support. For the most part, this ship has taken some pretty heavy hits. It might fall out of the sky pretty soon as it loses more and more of its thruster power. These remaining turrets are doing a pretty good job at doing damage, so they are taking the hits. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to last. There are some direct hits coming in, and I think that Corvette's actually going down now. Yep, it's definitely going down. So that's that ship down. I'm going to go ahead and raise these ships up a bit, so that way they will be able to see the enemy fortress and act accordingly. There we go. There's only 3 turrets left. Of course, these ships do need to try to stay in the air here, just so that way they have a good angle to fire from. Seems like this cruiser is already gone distracted by the hillside there. Same thing with this frigate. Let's move them more towards an opening somewhere. Let's put them at a further distance maybe. I mean, to be honest, I'm not really sure whether this battle is a victory for either side at this point. Because I know the remaining Federation ships probably do have the firepower to take out that fortress, but the terrain is making it really difficult for them to actually function. Mostly because AI is trying to stay lower to the ground. There's only like 1 turret left over there. I mean, I don't think that 1 turret is going to be able to take out either of these ships. So I guess this is technically a Federation victory, but they did lose their corvette, so that makes this fleet even smaller. So we're going to go back to the board and update that, and we're going to see what the Federation does with their last action. Alright, we're back to the board. As you can see, that Federation fleet has actually managed to go all the way down there, basically cutting the Pirate Empire into 2 halves. So they have all this chunk over there, and then they have this massive chunk over here that goes all the way around. And the only thing keeping these 2 chunks from uniting again is just this 1 planet here. So the Federation decided they're going to try to expand that gap a little bit. They're going to take their fleet from there over to the Pertam Plateaus over here. They're going to be taking on this super carrier here, along with that fleet that's with it here. It's going to be a very tough battle, but then again, the Federation is bringing some pretty tough ships here. They're bringing a carrier, a battleship. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but it might be able to weaken this fleet, maybe eliminating like 1 ship. I'm not sure. But if it works, at least it'll save the Federation a little bit of time. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and see if they successfully do some damage to this fleet. Alright, here we are on Pertam. This is going to be an interesting battle. There's heavy gravity, which means there's going to be higher casualties in this battle, as ships need more thrust to stay up. And you can see that we've got some pretty big fleets in battle here. You can see we have a carrier with lots of fighters coming out here. There's a battleship, there's the corvettes there. Those corvettes are specialized for anti-fighter, with a couple larger weapons as well, but over here we have the Pirate Empire's fleet. They have their super carrier, they have their battleship, and of course their battleship brings some fighters, but there's also just a lot more fighters here because the super carrier, yeah, both of these ships carry fighters, and there's a few extra fighters that come with the fleet as well, so yeah, there's a lot of fighters here. I'm not quite sure what to expect here, so we're just going to declare war, and we're going to see which side is victorious here. All these fighters are going to begin rushing in, and there's a lot of missiles coming in. I hope the point defenses on the Federation are able to stand up to this. And they need to do whatever they can to eliminate those fighters too. Definitely a pretty big hit. That carrier is hit pretty hard there. It needs to, yeah, all these ships need to move in quickly, or else those missiles are just going to tear them apart. There's already plenty of cannons moving out and about, and then these corvettes are going in to take some damage. They're going to do whatever they can to take out those fighters as quickly as possible. There's a lot of railguns being fired here. As you can see, there's a lot of missiles coming in from all these fighters. Things here are not looking good. You can see there's even more torpedoes coming in. There's already some laser fire going in, trying to do whatever they can. This giant hole ripped into this ship here. It might be going down. It's not going to go down without a fight, so it's just going to charge straight in and take out as many of these fighters as possible. Some of the Federation fighters are starting to snake in through here, but that carrier is doing some evasive maneuvers. Trying to focus on the carrier down here, which is about to hit the ground. And there it goes. See, all these fighters are just rushing in, doing whatever they can. All these missiles are being an excellent distraction. And of course, these corvettes are also rushing in, trying to do whatever they can. Either that or the AI is probably been taken out. Still kind of do whatever they can. There are missiles being fired all over the place here, which is going to be a pretty good distraction for those railguns. But that battleship there is still a pretty big threat, and it's going to do whatever it can. That battleship just needs to focus on the carrier here, take out its shields and try to bring it down, while those corvettes do whatever they can to distract those fighters. And then if there are any Federation fighters remaining, those fighters need to do whatever they can to help bring these shields down. You can see they are still firing around down there. Seems like the carrier down here hasn't quite given up. It's trying to gap back up, but it is very heavy. And he is doing whatever it can to take out all these fighters. But that's a lot of damage, as there's still a lot of torpedoes going after this ship. the entire rear of the ship is completely gone at this point. I don't think there's any active thrusters left. So it's just sitting there doing whatever it can. At least until all the power goes out. The supercarrier down here seems to be going down to close the distance and do some more close range damage. Yeah, if that supercarrier doesn't rise up a little more, it might hit the ground, which would be fatal. Or not. Really depends on the angle it hits the ground. Yeah, the battleship here seems to be getting a bit closer here, but it is being targeted by the remaining ships. Well, actually, let's see, there's one of the Federation corvettes is going down over here. It's definitely trying, but it's taking a little bit too much damage. This supercarrier is actually about to hit the ground. That might at least give the remaining ships a chance. There we go. It's definitely hit the ground, but it's trying to get back up here. Definitely has taken some hits. And with the shields down, that at least gives the Federation ships an opportunity to do some damage. There's another corvette being shot down here. So that means it's just up to the battleship to do the remaining damage wherever it went. I think I see where the battleship is. Yeah, that's the remains of the battleship there. So apparently the battleship was already shot down. I think that might have been the last Federation ship that was still alive. So that means that the Powered Empire has actually won this battle. And they haven't taken all too many losses. They have taken some damage, but that'll be repaired over time. So yeah, we're going to go back to the board and we're going to see what Delta Shipyards does up next. Alright, we're back to the board, and well, now it's time for Delta Shipyards to try to make a difference here. So right now, Delta is in a weird position that's not great for them. I mean, they have 3 worlds over here, which are just their, resource gathering worlds and fortresses. So, they don't really have anything defending other than that fortress world there, which is doing a pretty good job since there's not really not much in terms of fleets over there. But the real problem is that their only shipyard is all the way over here. And they have to travel a decent distance just to be able to get all the way back to those worlds, or try to find some way of expanding. Now, because this is their last shipyard, they're going to need to find a way to escape, and Going up into Federation territory up here might not be the best option, considering the Federation is very active up there. So they're going to try taking a different approach, and they're going to go and send one of their weaker fleets over to this fortress world. And I don't know if this is enough to actually take on the fortress, but we're going to see if it is. So it's just 3 corvettes and 2 fighters versus a level 1 fortress world over on the Alien Mountains. If they succeed, then there'll be a path for Delta Shipyards to kind of just find a way over here. But if not, then Delta Shipyards is going to struggle. Alright, we're here on the alien planet. Over at the top of that mountain is that fortress, and these are the ships that need to take out that fortress. Like I said, I'm not sure if this is enough to actually take out that fortress, but we're just gonna see. So almost immediately, they're all gonna move in. Now, if they get hit by that large turret, it's pretty much just a one-shot. So, there's definitely going to be casualties in this. I know the fighters are going to be very vulnerable to the smaller turrets, and of course the corvettes are also going to be somewhat vulnerable to those missiles as well. But if they can pull this off, then they might actually be able to do enough damage. So you can see they're already getting close enough to use their railguns. And already there's some shots coming in. Ouch. Yeah, it's definitely a big hit. And those fighters are starting to rush in here. Those fighters have taken some small hits, but they're going in to do whatever they can. These fighters are going to actually serve as a pretty decent distractions. There's definitely some explosions going on. Seems the turret is a little more focused on those fighters than it is everything else. Either that or an important block might have been destroyed. Now the turret has switched targets and is going after that corvette. That corvette seems to be getting a little bit close here. Oh, that's an interesting maneuver. That ship decided to go out with style. Well, the fortress is still here, so unfortunately Delta Shipyards has lost this battle. We're gonna go back to the board and see what else they do. Okay, so Delta Shipyards decided to use their last 2 actions to go ahead and just build some more fleets. Nothing too much because they're very quickly running out of money, so over here they made a Cerberus with some Vipers and Goliath fighters, and of course they used the rest of their money to make, a very small fleet, just one corvette and a series of fighters, mainly just as a backup in case. They're really not looking too good there. Now if we go on down to the Pirate Empire, their first action, of course, was turning one of their shipyards into a level 3 shipyard, which means that whenever they have the ability to build a new fleet, if they decide to build it from that shipyard, they can build a fleet of up to 15 ships, which is incredibly powerful. So yeah, that's going to be a massive problem for all the other factions, at least the remaining factions. And of course, the second action that the Pirate Empire is going to do, they're going to deal with this Federation world here, this outlier. So they've sent one of their fleets in to go ahead and try to take on this Fortress world. And of course, it's not one of the most powerful fleets, it's just one battleship, some frigates, and some fighters. So we're just going to hop in and see if that's enough to actually take out that fortress. Alright, here we are. So here's the Pirate Empire fleet here on Alglo. And they're going to be going after that fortress over there. So we're going to go ahead and just jump straight in. So right off the bat, you can see that all these ships are moving into position here, with some going low and some going above. Seems like the battleship is staying behind a bit, just being a little bit cautious, while the remaining ships are going up front to go and take more of the hits. You can see there's already some turrets going after this this frigate. There's definitely some turrets trying to go after all the fighters that are up in the air. Yep, there's a lot of fighters rushing in here. Now here comes all the missiles. Some hits are trying to go after the larger ships here, because these are the ones that are actually going to do a lot more damage. The fighters are more or less just a distraction for the turrets. A lot of these frigates are getting pretty close. It's going to allow them to do a lot more damage. Even the battleship is starting to move in, though it's attacking from the side over here. It's actually hard to tell if there's any turrets left at all. Probably just one or two left at this point. Well, that was the last turret, I think. That means this fortress has been completely taken care of. And of course the Pirate Empire hasn't taken any major casualties, if any at all. It seems that all of their ships are intact. Yeah, pretty much. So the Pirate Empire has taken over this world. Alright, so the Pirate Empire has successfully taken over that planet. That means it's gonna be a lot easier for them to just rush in and take over this all these Delta Shipyards plants over here. And then they can just pretty much just take over the rest if that fleet doesn't cause more trouble. Now, the Pirate Empire, with their final action, they're actually going to do something pretty crazy here. So we know that Delta Shipyards is trying to build up a bit of a defense here, and of course the reason why is because the Pirate Empire is right at their doorstep, and they're actually going to go through with it. So over here they sent over one of their very powerful fleets, you know, the super carrier with all these fighters, and you know, just to give Delta Shipyards a chance, we're going to see if this fleet can actually take on all three of these fleets simultaneously, which isn't too much at the moment. But if the Pirate Empire successfully defeats all that and takes over that planet, then Delta Shipyards won't have any more ships or shipyards, and they're practically out of the game if that's the case. So we're going to jump in and see if that happens or not. Alright, this is a pretty big battle for Delta Shipyards. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it or not. So, Delta Shipyards, this is pretty much all the ships they have. Like, all of them right now. If they lose all these ships, they don't get any more, and they're pretty much out of this fight for the rest of this season. You can see they have one Phantom, they have one Cerberus, they have 3 Vipers, and they should have 10 Goliath fighters. That's their entire military right now. And over here we can see the Pirate Empire. They have just their 1 Mjolnir super carrier and about 18 fighters. This is going to be interesting. I don't know if they're going to be able to do this, but this is Pertam, so they might have a chance, maybe not, but we'll find out. So almost immediately all these ships are going to jump into battle. This is not looking good, as there's already a lot of missiles moving in. I actually don't even know if this fleet has any proper point defense. If it doesn't, then this is gonna be a really big problem. I already know this Phantom is gonna get completely obliterated by those missiles. There's definitely some direct hits here. This battleship is still alive, but it has taken some pretty heavy damage. All the rest of the ships here are going to charge in and do whatever they can. There's already some corvettes going down there. More corvettes falling. Lots of missiles moving in. More missiles going after the battleship here.
Alert.
The emergency systems are already activating.
Military alert. Military alert.
Some of those corvettes back there are taking a step back as they've realized that they've lost one of their allies there, and they're mainly trying to deal with all these fighters. You can see these fighters are now actually getting in range of each other. that super carrier is actually just charging in now. Definitely not happy about these other ships that are large moving around. So it's just going straight in and take them out. This battleship is already going down. This corvette's trying to do whatever it can, but it's very quickly being overwhelmed as all these fighters are rushing in. I actually don't even know if there's any fighters still alive in this battle. And of course, that carrier is definitely going after the it's going after what's left of this battleship here as it crashes into the desert. I'm surprised there are still some active cannons on this. And of course, there is that battleship over there that's going to try doing whatever it can. If that battleship can somehow take out this carrier, then that would actually be enough to make this fleet a lot less dangerous. There are still definitely some fighters out there doing whatever they can, and this corvette is also trying. It's taking a lot of heavy hits. Delta Shipyards is rapidly losing ships, but they are still trying to do whatever they can. It seems like the super carrier is actually helping out, making sure that these fighters are getting taken out faster. But it seems like these Delta fighters are making sure that these they're putting up a pretty decent fight here. You can see they're definitely taking out some of these other ships. That battleship over there is keeping its distance. It knows that if it rushes in too much, it's definitely gonna not survive the battle. So it's just gonna slowly approach and try to take out ships from a distance. The remains of this battleship are just being torn apart. seems like most, if not all, the fighters are completely eliminated now. But the battleship over there is still trying to get in close enough to do damage to this carrier. And that carrier is going to switch targets pretty soon. It's definitely seen your ship now. Of course, that Cerberus is just doing whatever it does best, just firing long-range shots. Unfortunately, it doesn't have very great armor, so it's going to take a lot of damage. It's definitely taking a lot of railgun shots. It's going up so that way it doesn't need as much thrust to fly. It just leaves the gravity a little bit. That'll help out a little bit. But even then, I don't know if that's going to be enough to help it survive, because all those railguns are coming in. And that carrier is definitely getting closer. It's now getting within some pretty close range to the carrier. This might not be a good thing. Yeah, all those small missiles being fired are excellent for distracting the main weapons. So as long as you can keep that up and keep away, then you should be fine. The carrier is trying to get close, so that way you can use its close range weapons. All the fighters down there might switch targets as well, and that'd be not great. So right now it's just a 1v1. Let's quickly see where the shields are out on this ship. A little bit less than half. Definitely a lot of railgun hitting the ship here. If that keeps up, then this ship isn't going to last very long. already starting to hit the main systems on board. It's not looking good. Seems some of the main hydrogen systems are already hit. It's getting dangerously close to the ground here. It might be able to stop just in time, but it's not looking great. And those railguns are continuing to hit pretty hard. I'm gonna go just lightly taps the ground. And it takes off again. This ship isn't gonna give up just about yet. Also, its nose is definitely not doing too great. It's another explosion on board. Some of the weapons are coming off.
Military alert. Military alert. Military.
Oh, close range weapons are already activating here. It's a pretty fatal mistake as those are going to dig in. And this ship is very quickly trying to get above them and out of range.
Military alert. Military alert.
There we go, some evasive maneuvers.
Military alert.
It's just about managed to get out of range here. But he has taken some damage.
Alert.
He's falling very quickly.
Military alert.
In the meantime, this super carrier here is actually, it might hit the ground here. There you go, it has hit the ground. Its shields have absorbed most of the damage. Now the ship is going to try getting back up. Let's actually see where its shields are at. %, so not quite all the way down, but pretty close. And of course, the battleship has hit the ground in the distance.
Military alert. Military alert.
Yeah, that ship isn't flying anymore. Or it might be able to fly, I'm not quite sure.
Military alert.
definitely trying to go back into the fight with whatever he has left.
Military alert. Military alert. Military alert.
Yeah, I don't think Delta Shipyards is winning this fight. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like the carrier is still alive. It may be on the ground, but it doesn't have any fatal injuries. Just doesn't have any targets. And then looking at how many fighters are left, well, there should still be plenty of fighters around the place. Yeah, there's still plenty of fighters. So yeah, we're gonna go back to the board and yeah, we're gonna go and update it. Okay, I think that was the Pirate Empire's last action. So with that, that means that well, Delta Shipyards doesn't have any more ships. They don't have any more shipyards. So Delta Shipyards is technically out of the game here. That means it's just the Federation and it's the Pirate Empire. Now, that means the Pirate Empire only has to deal with the remaining Delta Shipyard worlds and the Federation fleets, but the Federation fleets are getting stronger. And the Federation might actually build up enough money to make their own super carriers. Which, while they're not as strong as while the Federation supercarriers are not as strong as the Pirate Empire supercarriers, they are a lot cheaper and more efficient. So that'll be interesting to see if they surprisingly make one. I'm not sure if they'll be able to make one. Maybe in the next episode, I'm not quite sure. But looking here, yeah, it seems like the Federation's main strategy is going to have to rely on producing bigger and stronger fleets, trying to get more income, and they're going to be extremely reliant on the fleets all the way down on the bottom of the map. If that fleet can somehow manage to get a shipyard all the way out there and then slowly expand behind enemy lines, then that might give them time to actually take on the Pirate Empire. I guess that's about it for this episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you guys are interested in joining us for Season 2, there is a Discord down in the description. Without further ado, that's the end of this episode. Take care and have a good one.